Welcome to Let's Talk About Everything and Nothing. We're Sophia,
Michelle,
your favorite or soon-to-be favorite ADHD-ridden masc sisters.
Expect deep combos, random tangents, and the occasional existential crisis. Or maybe we'll just talk about snacks.
Either way, we're here, we're talking, and you're stuck with us. So let's get into it. Welcome back. If you survived part 1, congrats.
If you're new here, you picked the wrong starting port, but we love you for that.
We left things hanging last week, so let's dive right back into the chaos.
Same sisters, same ADHD, just a lot more oversharing.
Let's get into part 2.
I do want to touch, maybe not right now, but like alcoholism. Is that a mental health problem?
Yes. The reason why earlier I brought up my relationship, I know that was real random, the one that was after my mom died, was because in that relationship, they didn't know how to help me. Not that they should have. I'm not saying that they should have helped me, but like their help was let's just go out, you know. And so that also contributed to just me like already. That's my a lot of times go to because you know what do we do when we're sad, when we're happy, we drink.
That's a family thing, and I believe probably at one point in time I was an alcoholic, and that was the answer. You drink until you feel better. And I remember distinctly, and it had nothing to do with my mother's passing, but I was grieving something else, and it just happened to be my cousin's birthday, and I went out with my family and stuff like that, and I was sad about this thing, and I was drinking and I was crying, and they just tipped the beer into my mouth to go in faster because it was going to make me feel better. That made me sad because that's what I was taught my whole life. You just drink until you feel better.
You never do. There was a point, obviously in college, you know, I drank a whole bunch. But there's definitely a point where when I was living in Austin and I was very upset about another past relationship. And I would literally just buy a 12-pack and I took it into my room and I would just drink the 12-pack and cry. And I remember my niece one time was like, I heard you crying last night. And I was like, sorry. Didn't mean to wake you. It's not funny, but it is a little bit. I think that was probably a problem.
That was 100% a problem.
I definitely still drink, but nowhere near. Not even like a touch of that. But also, I think I've grown as a person.
You've grown as a person, and, you know, in general, people grow up, but like, it's that alcohol.
But I'm not going to lie. Like, in moments of like celebrating, let's get a drink still. In moments of even sometimes sad, you know? But not to that extreme anymore. Mm-hmm. But that's still one of the first things that pops in my head.
It's not for me anymore.
But you drink like none, think. Like I drink socially enough. Your social drinking is like once every 3 years.
It's I told my cousin today. It's not that I'm not drinking. It's just I'm not drinking. Like, yeah. You know, I'm not like, oh, I can't have anything. It's just, you know, I had my son about a year and a half ago, and we were going through IVF, and so for like, and then I breastfed him, and so for like, I don't know.
For 5 years.
So for a year and a half, maybe 2 years, I couldn't drink. And then for me, it's out of sight, out of mind. Like, all right.
That's just like that's part of like the addictive personality side of you mixed with the ADHD in you.
I definitely have an addictive personality. Mm-hmm. But no, I definitely use alcohol as a coping mechanism. It wasn't good. And then the thing about it is like most of my relationships, friendships included, family relationships, it was accepted as a coping mechanism, and it was encouraged by a lot of people as a coping mechanism.
100%.
Until my wife, and she's like, "No, this is not okay." And I was like, "Oh." I'm saying I didn't still do stupid things when I was with her, but I definitely slowed down on the stupid things while drinking, like to only every once in a while stupid things. But yeah, definitely a coping mechanism, and definitely something that was a learned behavior. That's what you do. You drink. Yeah, it's one of those things where you just gotta do better for yourself. Like, that's what I think about it. I just got to do better for myself. This is for the alcoholism, for the mental health, for dealing with my problems. And I don't want my problems to interfere with my kid's life.
I think that is, with our generation, for most of our generation, I think we are trying to not continue the cycle of whatever traumas that their family had brought. But it's hard, you know, because sometimes like that separates you from your family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's one of those things like, you know, oh, well, I don't want to go if everyone's going to be drunk, you know. And think, but it's like, there is a stigma for therapy and stuff like that, but like, I don't think that was really a problem in our family. You know what I mean?
I don't think it was a problem, but I don't think it was a solution.
Well, Mom went to therapy.
No, so I'm saying, like, I don't think, but the only reason why I know that is because we had to go with her once, and that's when I choked on the peppermint.
100%.
I almost died. And she had to come out, and she was very upset because it went into her, I'm assuming, hour.
My mother didn't believe in, like, going to the doctor. Like, I literally had to trick her into going and getting her eyes checked. And she was very upset with me.
Yeah, Mom didn't like going to the doctor.
Side note, I don't know. Because, my wife's mother was sick for a while. Whenever me and my wife were friends, I told her, I said, one day my mom's going to drop dead, and we're not going to know why. Because she just refuses to go to the doctor and take care of herself. And she refuses to tell us things. Yeah. Like, everything was very... Secretive isn't the right word. It's just, she just didn't want us to know. Like, she didn't want us to worry about it. And, because she didn't want to worry about it. Because if she told us, and especially me, I would get on to her. Well, hey, Mom, are you doing this? Hey, Mom, are you doing that? And she didn't have to worry about it.
Mom was the, if we don't talk about it, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So she didn't talk about it. Which is also why I'm the way that I am. I will speak for myself.
I mean, I thought you were going to say that's why it's hard for us to have things unresolved.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to. Because even, like, in talking about trauma, trauma responses specifically, because everything was always so unresolved. We never discussed arguments or fights or anything bad happening from the night before to the next day. It was just kind of like pretending it never happened and us just moving on with our lives. I can't do it in my life. Mm-hmm. I need a resolution here and now. I have a lot of abandonment issues.
I have a lot of abandonment issues to the point where I used to have dreams about it. Like, my family literally left me.
Jesus. I know we talked about how you were scared of dying. There was also a point, not where I went to therapy about it. I don't think I've even told my therapist I have a fear of dying. But there was a point for a long time where, like, I was very scared. And it wasn't necessarily the dying part. It was just the not being here part.
Oh, the non-existing part. That's the scary part.
Yeah, that's 100%. Like, the part that, like, I go, like, it's a black hole. And I'm scared. And then I have to think about, I literally have to say, just dream about deer in the forest.
So, Britt has gotten, so before, I don't know how to say this. So, like, my mother was never, like, the person that I would go to for comfort. But with my dying problem, my dying fear, she was the person that would be able to, like, center me. And I think it's just because I had that problem since I was little, and she was the person I would go to. But I remember one time distinctly, a movie triggered it, and I had to call her to tell her I was scared. And she came over to I was living at Grandma's house. She came over and she, like, helped calm me down and took me out to eat or something like that. But Britt has become, it doesn't happen that often anymore, because before it used to happen a lot, but Britt has learned how to calm me down by kind of like recentering me, re-establishing what's happening right now versus the unknown. So she's gotten real good at that. And luckily, it hasn't happened in quite a while. But I didn't know you had that. How old were you when that happened?
We're still living in the apartment together.
Who was living? When we were little?
Yeah, when me and you shared I think it was, like, right before you left. So you were probably a senior or something like that.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. And that's when I started not minding that the TV was always on. Because before I hated that shit. But when I started having nightmares about dying is when your TV would still be on, I would just close my eyes and say the words that they were saying in my head. I definitely never told Mom that. Honestly, and not to, like, I don't know why, but I don't think I ever went to Mom when I was, like, scared. Except, do you know what I'm about to say?
For The Exorcist?
Yes, except for that. Okay, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Exorcist. But that traumatized me. I'm not going to lie, like...
But you were, like, 8 years old. How old were you?
Old enough to not have been... Or young enough to not have seen that movie. Old enough to be ashamed that I was so scared. I was terrified.
Yeah, she was scared. Have you seen it since?
Yes.
Because it's not scary.
They say it's not.
Who's they?
So the first time I actually, like, watched it beginning to end was at Felix's house with Ralph and Felix and Mary. And I was like, I don't want to watch this. And they all made me. And it was terrifying. Right now I'm picturing her in my head. I'm scared. I'm going to have to watch something Disney tonight. It terrified me. Like, it did something to me. Like, I was frightened for a long time. Like, too long.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I don't know. But that traumatized me. That's like...
Our number one trauma.
I don't know. Not regular trauma, but...
Self-imposed trauma.
Because I begged my mom.
Yeah. And we kept telling her, no, you're going to be too scared.
I begged her. I was like, please, I'm old enough. I wasn't. I wasn't old enough. I was so scared. I'm so fucking scared right now.
It was kind of funny.
It's not. But yeah, so I have a lot of anxiety. I still deal with a lot of depression. It's definitely more, my ups are, it's easier to come from the downs. I think it's just because and honestly, like when I stopped taking anxiety medicine and then I was just like dealing with my life and no depression medicine or anything like that, I think I just kind of like assumed this was just my life. And then when I got on ADHD medicine, because I was able to like slow my brain from going so fast, I felt like that helped me be less anxious. Even though a lot of people say that they feel more anxious when they're on Adderall and stuff like that.
I haven't heard that, but because a lot of people think that people who have anxiety and ADD your ADD is causing your anxiety. But I don't think that's you. I think you have anxiety and you have ADD.
Oh yeah, 100%. But what I'm saying is that like when I was taking my ADHD medicine, I felt like I was able to at least regulate my anxiety. Mm-hmm. Quicker, and it'd be less frequent. Like I could get over it relatively quickly because my mind was a little bit slower, and I was able to like think my way. At least this is my all assumption. I have no idea if this is correct.
I mean, that makes sense.
Whereas I haven't been on Adderall, haven't been taking my Adderall because I'm out, and my anxiety has been like through the roof, and it's actually it's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, medication I think works for you, and I think, in all honesty. And it's my opinion. I mean, you do what you want to do, but I think you need anxiety medicine.
Probably.
I think you need your Adderall and you need anxiety medicine. I think you need both. I think that would make your life better. But do you think that talk therapy is good for you too?
Yeah. I think it has to be... So I had this therapist, man, Felicia. She was a gift from God. Beautiful woman. I mean, she pretty...
Her soul. I mean,
her soul was beautiful. Like, I don't think I've ever connected with someone so well. Where, like, there'd be times when I'm, like, talking to her, and then I would just be, like, stop talking, and then she would, like, know what I'm saying without talking. But just how well she knew me. She was a lovely woman. She no longer works in Texas, I don't believe, because when I was looking her up to go back to therapy, I couldn't find her.
So, I went to therapy. I've been to therapy a handful of times, but the last time I went was specific for grief. Not because anyone passed away, but something that I've never dealt with before. Like, you know, I've dealt with death and I've dealt with loss in different ways, and this was a loss that I didn't know how to deal with. I went to therapy. So we worked on that, and we worked on, you know, my abandonment issues and stuff like that a little bit.
Are you talking about Heidi?
Yeah.
Sometimes we accidentally go to the doctor.
We go to the same doctor by accident. All the time. I don't know. I think she was really good for the grief, but I think for some of the other stuff, I needed someone to be a little bit harsher. And I don't know if that's even something that therapists do. Like, I just need someone to push me. I just needed someone to push me a little bit more.
She was very, because again, accident, that we saw the same therapist. She didn't give a lot of feedback. I like to talk it out, but also I would like you to respond to me.
She gave me different feedback, but I think it's certain things that like are her
niche.
Yeah. So like her grief, with my grief and processing, and you know, at that point in time I didn't have any children. So when Sophia got married, I cried like the whole time. And I was kind of embarrassed that I cried the whole time, but I did. I cried like the whole time. And I was her best man, and so I was up there with her. So I was talking to her about it. She's like, well, and I've told her about me and our relationship and whatnot. And she was like, well, moms usually cry at their kids' weddings. And I was like, huh? She's like, yeah. And I was like, So that was like something I thought about. And then I don't remember like the events that made this conversation pop up, but it was something about me being a good mom, you know, one day. And she's like, well, you've already raised a child and you were already a good mom.
You were. at my wedding, my sister had a very beautiful surprise for me that she coordinated. Literally everyone, I knew I was going to play my mom's favorite song at the wedding, but while the song was playing, Michelle had, and funny enough though, I also had a surprise for Michelle. So while my sister was trying to run around and get this surprise set up, I was like, can you, Michelle, come to the dance floor? So me and my sister had a dance.
While her wife sang.
While my wife sang. And then my mom's song played or whatever, and my sister had everyone, all of our family, hold up pictures of my mom and my grandma, which was beautiful. At some point of the night, someone came to you and that I was the person that I was because of you. And I am. Like, the all the good parts of me is from her. I was never worried about disappointing my mom or my dad, or I didn't care if what they thought. I didn't want to disappoint Michelle. I didn't want Michelle to be disappointed in me. I didn't want to let my sister down. I could have cared less if mom and dad were disappointed in me. I didn't want Michelle to be disappointed or let down. I was more afraid of my sister and her opinions about me than I was of anyone else. Michelle has always been that person.
Our relationship is something that I cherish a lot, and I know not everyone has this. We have a strange relationship. It's not as strange now, but definitely growing up, it was a really weird paradox between I'm your parent versus your sister, and it would kind of conflict with me sometimes. I value our relationship quite a bit, and I value being able to talk to you about things. And even, the other day I had a lot happening in one day, and I felt better even just texting her. Like, I think it was just, today was very overwhelming. I just felt better to letting her know that I was overwhelmed by that day. And, it's one of those things where I'm very grateful for our relationship, because we do have a lot of stuff that we still got to work through and things. And we just need to, like, talking like this, even, for the podcast or even just in general, like, because, our circle, our core circle of friends, we have conversations like this quite often.
Yeah, we do.
About our mental health and, trying to better ourselves and things like that. And
it's important to talk about.
Mm-hmm. It is important to talk about it. And not to throw, whatever, it's not even under the bus, like, not to put her business out there, but, like, my niece was over, this was, like, years ago, my niece was over here, and she, like, jokingly was like, so, let's talk about our trauma, and she was joking, and we're like, okay, let's talk about it, because that's just, we do that. And my wife started talking about her trauma about something, and, like, my niece was like, oh wow, like, I didn't know that about you. It's good to know what people are going through.
It also takes away the shame, I think, that, like, societal shame, about, like, mental health in general, or maybe even, like, some self shame that you put on yourself.
Yeah, like, that you're being ridiculous because you feel this way, or that you're ridiculous because, oh, this happened when I was a kid, I should be over it.
Yeah.
By now. Because guess what? You're not. You're not over it. Especially if it happened to a child, it's more likely you're not over it if it's something that happened to you as an adult. Because that was, like, how you were formed.
Yeah, a pivotal point in your life.
Like, literally your formative years of who you are as a person.
Like, I see these things on TikTok. I know everything comes back to TikTok.
I read somewhere.
I'm always seeing, like, these things are like, oh, if you do this, then you must have had this trauma in your childhood. And I'm like, damn it, this For You page is so accurate. I think it's good to talk about. I think it's, get off your chest, have open dialogue about, what you're going through, your feelings in general. But, no one should be ashamed of what they're going through or what they've been through. Everyone's going through something.
All the time.
And it's...
no one's life's easy.
No one's life's easy. And something I learned in therapy is that, perspective of, like, the worst day in my life versus the worst day of someone else's life. Essentially, as an example, I was in the car with my girlfriend at the time, and she was arguing with her mom. It was after my mom passed away. She was arguing with her mom, and, she was, like, calling her like a fucking bitch or something like that. And I remember being very, like, angry about it. I went to therapy, and I talked about it, and they're like, well, why? Why are you upset? And I'm like, well, because she has a mom. Her mom's alive still. And then she's like, yeah, her mom is alive. And she was having an argument with her mom. And I was like, yes. What's happening? And she's like, yeah. She's like, so that might have been a horrible conversation she was having with her mom. Mm-hmm. Or just a regular conversation. She's like, just because your worst day of your life was your mom dying. Does not mean that's the equivalent to what her worst day of her life is, you know? So, like, you can't compare your worst day to someone else's worst day. Or say that your day was, oh, because my mom died, I've had the worst day. Because to this person, whatever happened on their worst day was the worst thing that's ever happened to them, regardless of what you have. And I was like, damn, you're right.
I never felt that way. And I can understand why you felt that way. Because one of my friends, she was talking about something and she was pissed off at her mom. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, why? She goes, because I know I'm complaining about my mom and your mom's not here. I'm like, girl, I was like, my mom got on my goddamn nerves. Like, you know, I don't care. Like, just because my mom's not here doesn't mean your mom ain't bugging the shit out of you. Yeah. I was like, and if my mom was here, I'd probably be complaining about her. I mean, I also reserve the right to complain about her now, too. So,
yeah. I think that was one of the harder things, especially, I know, I don't even know where we are anymore in this, but one of the harder things, too, that when mom died, for me at least, it was
rose-colored glasses.
Yeah. So it was, all these things that, it was just separate relationship with my mom. Like our mother-daughter relationship versus our friendship. That was also something that I've worked through therapy. Our mother-daughter relationship, I had rose-colored glasses on because of her dying and also because of our friendship. So there's a lot of things where I was like, oh, you know, like, not that I felt like I didn't even realize that I thought this, but like, I felt like, oh, I can't be mad at her, or I can't actually think about like the honestness of our relationship as mother and daughter, you know? It was very difficult for me for a very long time. And again, it was through therapy where I was like, oh, damn, yeah, I put her on a pedestal.
Yeah, and it's also those conflicting things of, yeah, she was the good versus the not so good. The confliction of that. Everyone has a different mom. Like, me and you didn't have the same mom either.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's relationship with somebody is different.
110%. If there's anything I learned, is that my relationship with mom was very different from your relationship with mom, and I can only imagine how much different it was from our brothers. Because she was a different person in each of these situations. By the time she got to me, she was tired. She said, you want to go? Go ahead.
Literally.
She said, you want a limo or a hotel?
For me, on a leash, choke collar.
For real. We followed her one time, walking to the movies when the movie was next door to her school.
Literally, I just had to cross the street. It wasn't even the busy street. It was like the side street.
Yeah, it was a side street. Like a little... Like, if you had long legs, you might be able to make it to the other side of the sidewalk. But literally, I was in elementary school. She picked me up, and she's like, your sister's going to the movies. And I was like, okay, so now we're going home. We went to her school, and I was like, I thought Michelle was going to the movies. And she's like, she is. But she wanted to walk there. And I was like, well, why are we here? And then she's like, we're following her. And I was like, oh, okay. All excited, too. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. And then we saw her. She's like, don't roll your window down. So I rolled it down a little bit.
I saw them at the corner of my eye. And I was like, oh, my God. So I didn't acknowledge them because I was embarrassed.
Yeah, Michelle was constantly embarrassed. Like, one time we went to the fair, and she was going to hang out with her friends. Mom said she could.
15 or 16 years old. Actually, you know what? I was 16.
I was saying, I think you're...
I had my car. 16. And I was a good kid. Never got in trouble. Like, never did crazy stuff. Like, I was a good kid.
She said that she could go. So she left. And I was like, perfect. Now we can do all the things I want to do at the fair. And so I was very excited. So I was like, let's go. And I started walking this way. And she grabbed me and we ran. And I was like, where are we going? And she literally was zooming through people. And I'm not going to lie. I'm chubby now, but I was a short, chubby little kid there too. And she was pulling me and dragging me. And she's a little lady. But she was still pulling me and dragging me. And I was like, she's like, I'm about to lose your sister. You have to hurry up. And I was like, I thought she was going with her friends.
So not only did they come with me to the fair, instead of just saying, hey, I'll drop you off. Or, hey, you know, let your friends come pick you up. No. She was taking me to the fair. And, oh, you know what? We're staying. And then I was like, cool, I'll lose them. And I definitely tried my best. And I'm, if anything, like, one of my proudest, like, skill is maneuvering through a crowd.
Mom was very upset because I was slowing us down. But then I thought, okay, Mom, I can't remember if we found her, lost her, what happened. But then she's like, okay, fine, let's go do what you want to do. So I get on a ride. And she's like, I'll wait here for you. And then I get off the ride, and she's not there. And I'm like, did she just leave me at the fair by myself? I am a child. My anxiety was through the roof. I was like, I'm left. I don't know where I'm at. I don't have any money. I don't know how to get home. I'm going to be stuck here. I was going through every single possible...
But what kills me is, let's leave the 11-year-old, but follow the 16-year-old.
And where was she? She went to go look for you.
Yes, I know.
She's like, I thought I'd be back before the ride was over. And I was like, well, I was crying. I was like, I didn't know where you were. I was so scared. I thought I was going to be kidnapped. All these scenarios went through my head. And she's like, you weren't even here for 5 minutes by yourself. And I was like, my apologies.
But also, that's just ridiculous. You didn't know what the plan was or anything. I honestly, like, to this day, I wish I knew, like, why. For me, it was just so...
I think I asked her one time whenever I was going somewhere. And she's like, because I feel like you can take care of yourself and I had to worry about your sister.
Just the exact opposite. You did stupid ass shit.
I did. Obviously, like, things that were out of my control and why I have traumas and stuff like that. Like, yes, like, that is valid. But in my view now is I'm an adult with the means to better myself. If I choose to sit in my trauma and not do anything about it, then that's my choice. I can't blame anyone but myself if I don't better myself now. Can I blame people for the trauma that they've imposed on me or trauma that I've gone through before? Yeah, but not that I still continue to have problems with my trauma.
It's also something that you have to acknowledge for yourself, because there's plenty of people that I know that, like, if I know you, I'm good at knowing what your trauma is and what your trauma response is. And they're like, no, I'm good. I'm all right. I'm all good. And, you know, you have to be self-aware. To be self-aware, too, you have to talk to people. And, like, you know, me and my wife, how I react to things when it comes to, like, us arguments and stuff like that is my abandonment issues. And we have to talk. Like, we had to get to a point where we knew where we were both coming at because of how her issues are and my issues. And we had to come to, like, something that works for both of us. Because everyone has issues. You talk to people. Like, talk to somebody. You know, I think most people would benefit from a therapist, but, like, talk to your friends, talk to your spouse, talk to your sisters, talk to
ChatGPT.
Talk to your brothers, bro. Talk to somebody. Like, it doesn't have to be a professional. I mean, it should be professional, but it doesn't have to be. Like, talk to your friends. Like, everybody has trauma. Everybody has trauma.
But yeah, that's our trauma.
There's a lot more.
That was I don't know, I got kind of deep. If you guys have some trauma and want to share, share it.
I mean, hey, we're great people to talk to.
100%. I'm a great listener.
We're going to try to, like, bond with you.
Honestly. I might trauma bond with you.
But, you know, hey, if y'all want to talk to us, talk to us. But talk to somebody. Yeah. For real. Like, I know I said that like 17 times, but for real, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. You'll feel better. Hey, I love you.
I love you.
And I'm glad that you're still here.
Me too. I'm here by the hands of you and Mom Brett. I was like a little bird that had their wing broken, and they just kind of like healed me.
All right.
This was a great episode. Next episode, who knows what it will be about? We don't know. We haven't gotten that far yet.
Is that a teaser? Is that your teaser?
Okay, bye. And somehow we've reached the end of another episode of Let's Talk About Everything and Nothing.
If you had fun, hit that follow button, leave a review, and follow us on TikTok and Insta. But if you got distracted halfway through, no worries. Same.
We'll be back next time with more thoughts, more distractions, and probably actually no real conclusions. But thanks so much, guys, and see you later.